Good evening, Warriors! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. On this Sunday evening, I had a chance to get a lot of things done today, so I figured I'd do another one just to kind of keep up with our past. I did get a few people I was able to go back and do shout-outs in a second from some of the newer posts and things that people put together. We're going to talk about facial expressions and SR. Lifez Beautiful sent a nice comment about that, so I'm going to talk about that. Let's go through some shout outs here before we do that. Dr. Von Life, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. A Start, thank you so much. A Star 9, I believe. We'll talk about this a little bit. A comment was great talking about how the girl that he's with, that he wants to marry, going ahead and pulling back once over and over again, different times. And, let me say something here, my friends. I made the mistake many times over the years of trying to chase the women. And most of the time, it didn't really work because what ends up happening is you become desperate. And especially on top of semen retention. If I was releasing and I was also then kind of worried about how women looked at me or women reacted to me, then I would be less effective than if I basically did my goals, and a lot of women recognize that, and they basically would come after you. Now, part of the issue really is that in the long run, the women are choosing you warriors anyway, especially in their 20s. The key is more what the illusion looks like. And the issue really is you cannot be acting desperate and saying, okay, this is my woman to marry or things like that. That's the issue we have to become aware of. Do not act that way. Act in a way where, if she contacts you, great. If she doesn't, then you have to have some detachment. And this is important because as you're focusing on your goals, as you continue to do SR, you're going to continue to be out there and attract a lot of people to you. But it's only because you're doing your own thing. So once you start doing that and getting away from that and then focusing on a person, all of a sudden you lose some of that ability, in my opinion at least. So my friend Ace, go ahead and continue to develop yourself. Work on yourself. And if she comes back and contacts you, great. That's a chance you're taking. But the idea is that the person you want to be with you has got to be the person who is also chasing you, if you're going to even think about chasing her. And I wouldn't recommend that after all these years. I wouldn't recommend that at all. I'd recommend that you do your own thing, and you'll have plenty of women that would be happy to be with somebody who has the kind of energy and a masculinity that you have. So, Robert L., thank you, my friend. Clint, retention and marry. We're going to talk about marriage. I think you make a good point as well in a couple of episodes. I think that's 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5 away here. We're going to do a few. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how you end up being married, being able to keep your retaining. And once again, it's a lifestyle, my friends. There's nothing wrong with you procreating with your wife, as he mentioned, but also trying to keep that, you want to give your energy to your wife. That's great. But once again, my friends, remember, you're losing energy every time you give it up. The key is, when you do choose to give it up, are you giving up for a person who's with you in your goals, or someone who's just a one-night stand, or even just a picture or something like that? That's the key you got to look at in the long run. But we'll talk about that in another issue, another video. Rizzo, thank you, my friend. The Philosophies of Satch, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Ivanoe, Alex McCann, thank you. Jay Lavigne, we'll talk about love and marriage. I think that's a great comments you're making as well about relationships with your wife and those type of things. We'll talk about that. Dawson Bayer, thank you. BobCool, Stephen Akerley, Rudy F, R Resp, looking like a pink rabbit, deer in headlights. We'll talk about why males and females have that. It doesn't really matter. People sense your energy, so they're going to sense it whether it's male or female, and do that. And Monalisa, free your mind. I agree with you, Monalisa. I think that's the key to the whole thing. Free your mind to be free and not be locked into any kind of thought pattern and actually be free to accept those type of ideas from your God as well. All right, so about 5 minutes here. We're going to talk about the topic that we really kind of wanted to focus on today. I know we went into a little bit of tangent there, so I apologize, but it was some good questions from our shout-outs this week. Your facial looks and SR. All right, so Lifez Beautiful talked about the fact that your face tends to look yet younger, better, and there's lots of reasons for that. I truly believe as time goes on, your energy continues to get stronger and stronger. The chakras continue to move in directions and whirl around, and your face looks great. It actually, in some ways, is kind of looking the same as it has always looked. But as you get older, you're perceived to be obviously looking young, or as young as you used to be. Even though you might be an older age, your face looks better. Now, a number of reasons for this. Once again, if you're on retention and you have God with you and you're in God's plan and you're at joy and peace, and that's kind of how I feel right now, you're going to be happy. And if you're happy, you're going to look happy. You're going to be at peace. You're going to be calm. And even though you can have that intensity, you're still going to be at peace. And to me, this is the goal that I'm striving for 12 years, for how many years it may take, to build with my God, to be able to have that peace and be in that state where the life around you is really kind of inconsequential. It's not really about the life around you, it's the life inside of you. And this is where a lot of people, you could see what happens to them as time goes on. I remember a girl that I had a huge crush on in grammar school as a small warrior. And this girl didn't pay any attention to me at all. I wasn't a warrior. I was kind of a geeky type of person running around. I had no confidence, and it was even before I was releasing. I really wasn't the kind of person that I wanted to be. And then even if I released, I really was even worse than that. In my early teenage years, and lots of issues that occurred back then. And this girl was just great looking at that time. And it's amazing how things change over the years. And so I ran into her again, probably back, I would say about 4 or 5 years ago, before the pandemic hit. And this was about the time I started the retention stuff. And it was just amazing to me how things had changed. And she didn't look anywhere near happy. And later she had passed away a few years later, unfortunately. And what happened is that she had a lot of issues in her life. And what happens is life catches up with you. And now she didn't have the peace. She had a lot of anger, and she had a lot of bitterness and things inside of her for things that happened to her. Now, I could have been very happy about it, but I wasn't. I felt kind of sad. I had, bought her dinner and those type of things, and tried to help her as much as I could. But the bottom line really is that the bottom line really comes back down to is you end up looking, as you get older, what your inside feels. And as you get, if you have a happiness or you have a strength within, which we all have, that should come out on the outside. And that's why you see a lot of people who are maybe older who actually look young because they feel young. And like I said, I feel like I am 25, 30 years old. And I know a lot of you guys have commented how young I look, but that's part of Kendler's, also that fountain of youth. The Kelder's fountain of youth talks about the fact that you have to have a mental attitude as well. Along with the exercise, along with the diet, along with those type of things, you have to really believe in the philosophy. And I think that it took me many years to kind of get to that point. I started in 1998, but now I'm at the point where now I'm following all 6 of those types of suggestions and exercises and suggestions, and also some of the chanting and mantras and all the other kind of stuff that they talk about in the book. But along with that, you're looking then at trying to have a lot of healthy type of things along with it as you go through. And so from the inside, you're showing your true nature and who you are. And that's why you see people also on the flip side of it who are, maybe a young person, I say young at 40 and 50, and they look like they're 80, 90 years old. They look like they're ready to pass away, because mentally, they're not happy. They're not looking at any kind of success. They're looking at just ending their life eventually. Now, they may not say that, but eventually they're giving up hope. And warriors, that's the whole key to a lot of this. Your retention builds your strength. It keeps you going. It motivates you to do other things. The benefits of clarity, of attraction, of really being strong physically, like we talked about in the last one, to be strong mentally and spiritually. All this stuff makes you stronger, makes you want to achieve more, makes you want to fight all these diseases, to go out and battle until the last breath you have, and those type of things. And this is where the immortal and the people who lived a long time talk about this, is that they keep going. They keep going. I have friends in Japan building hotels at 98 years old, 99 years old. They're building hotels. And it's just amazing. The mental attitude is different. And that comes from a lot of things from within. And part of that within type of process is your self-control. Your ability not to waste your energy on getting upset with people. You're not wasting your energy on giving energy to people that you shouldn't be. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with having a wife or a loved one that you really want to give energy to once in a while. Doing that, that's a natural type of thing. And God, I think, has no problem with that type of thing, especially if you're in a married situation. However, one of the reasons why, and this goes back to the New Testament, one of the reasons why Paul and everyone's talking about trying to, get married, is because basically the idea was you want to prevent lust. You don't want to be sleeping with individual women. You want to be able to have a child and release at the time. Because remember, the Bible even talks about discharge, which is the release. You're dirty for 7 or 8 days. And you got to take showers and actually do a lot of things to become clean again. So you're technically not clean if you're releasing. Now, obviously, in this day and age, it is kind of, we're talking about something that a lot of people, scoff at and don't believe in. But I'm telling you guys, this is my thought pattern. Someone mentioned one of the posts today, and I'll have to go back and look at it as well, but talking about the fact that they were on Facebook and people talking about, somebody posted something to stay away from pornography. And so many people couldn't do that. And that doesn't surprise me. This is why we're talking about the people our discussion, my friends, right now is at 1%. But the reason that I decided to do this is because I think it's an epidemic problem. I think pornography and those other things are huge issues. Watching images and things like that. And people, getting taken off the air because they're talking about this kind of stuff. This is something that's a dangerous, dangerous thing. They're trying to demasculate males, and you cannot be losing your energy. So that, for lots of reasons, but the facial expressions, the facial looks, the way you look, how young you look, goes back to Kelder's book of A Fountain of Youth, and the ability for you to hold on to your energy and use it wisely. This is what we're talking about. And I think we've had a lot of people talking about balance. Monalisa, I think, mentioned it a couple times, and other people mentioned it. We're not talking, guys, we're talking about your overall health in the long term. The reason we have the epidemic problem is people are addicted to releasing. This is what it comes down to. They're addicted to the watching the images, and they're addicted to releasing. This is what's happening, and you have to get away from the addiction. Now, it doesn't mean you're never going to. If you're going to sit there and just sit around and not transmute energy, and you're still, obviously that could hurt you in the long run. We've talked about that. And having children, you're going to have to release, and sometimes you're going to, your wife is going to get pregnant. Sometimes they're not. So that's going to continue. You can technically call that a release, right? But those situations are totally different. And in those situations, you're building something with a person that God has blessed. I don't think God has a problem with that, in my opinion. I think God has a problem if you're releasing to pictures and you're releasing to individual people that you have no purpose being with except for a little pleasure here and there. And in the long run, you get your soul taken away, because little by little, every person you sleep with will a bit of your soul, men and women. And that's not a good thing. and it ends up hurting you in the long run. People can't have relationships and not get married because they've been sleeping around too long and they don't trust anybody. And that's a huge issue. All right, anyway, thank you, my friend, Lifez Beautiful, for your comments on your facial looks. I think it's a tremendous point you make there. Once again, we're in this to try to make sure you look the best you can, even though in a male situation, I don't really care how I look half the time, but I do understand what you're saying, and I think it does make a big difference how you feel and how people get attracted to you, and it does make difference in opportunities you have out there, not only romantic opportunities, but also business opportunities and things like that. All right, my friends, so have a good rest of the evening. I'll try to post this on Monday morning. Hope you guys have a great day tomorrow. We'll try to do one. I think our next one's going to be at edging. We have a few people talking about edging and the spiritual damage of that, which comes from Stunna, who's talking about Proverbs 6:27-28, and it makes a good point. Spirit has also said that spirit youth, so we'll talk about spirit and how that damages the spirit. Anytime you start doing those type of things, you are kind of breaking into that flesh and spirit type of thing. All right, my friends, so 2 things to remember as you head out in God's name and Sunday here. First of all, every day, which is tomorrow, is going to be a great day, a new day for a great warrior. And number 2, my friends, continue to battle!